Hi guys, welcome to Basic Bit. Today is Tuesday, December 8th, and we are on day number 8. The problem today is called pairs of songs with total durations divisible by 60. We're given a list of songs where the ith song has a duration of time seconds. So time is an array, and we want to return the number of pairs of songs for which their total duration in seconds is divisible by 60. The brute force approach to this problem would be to check every song with every other song and see if their sum is divisible by 60. But that brute force approach would have an O of n squared, which is not efficient. My first step when approaching any LeetCode question is to look at the example that's provided and make sure I understand what's going on. So for this one, we have this array of 5 values, and the explanation says that there are 3 valid pairs. So 30 and 150, 20 and 100, and then 20 and 40. We can just store the remainder of all of these values when it's divided by 60. So 30, 20, 30, 40, 40. And we'll notice here that some of these values have the same remainder when they're divided by 60, and that means they can be paired up with the same complementary value. 20, we have one occurrence of 20, 2 occurrences of 30, and then 2 occurrences of 40. We can multiply their frequencies because we have one number with a remainder of 20 and 2 numbers with a remainder of 40. So that means we can do two pairs. 30 is a bit of a special case because here it shows that we have 2 numbers that have a remainder of 30, and we want to figure out how many pairs we want to make, how many pairs we can make from these 2 values. So in our case, it's easy because given 2 values, you can only make 1 pair from it. But for later on, it's good to keep in mind that for 30, if this was n, we would want to see what the value of n choose 2 would be. That would be how many valid pairs we could make out of n numbers with a remainder of 30. So from 2 plus 1, we can get 3. First, let's get the remainders of all the times divided by 60 by doing a list comprehension. Then we can store these remainders in a dictionary. And I'm going to use a collections.counter. So this will given a list, it will create all the unique keys, and then the values will be the frequency of each of these keys. And then we can iterate through all of the keys in the counter. And if the key is 30, like we saw in the example earlier, then n is the frequency of times with a remainder of 30. Here, let's initialize answer equal to 0. We want to add how many valid pairs we can get out of n number of times that have a remainder of 30. N choose 2. So we can use from math import comp and then comp and choose 2. And then let's zero out that those frequencies. Next, we have to look at all the other values that are non-zero. So if at index key is not equal to 0, and its complementary value is also not equal to 0, so the value at 60 minus k not equal to 0, then we can then the number of valid pairs we can make from those complementary times would be count at k times count at 60 minus k. And we also have to remember to turn the values at those keys to 0. Another thing to keep in mind is not only when the remainder is 30 seconds, but also when the remainder is 0 seconds, then those times can only be paired with other times that have a remainder of 0 seconds. So any multiple of 60 is going to have a remainder of 0 seconds. And those numbers can only be added to other numbers that are already divisible by 60. So that's why k equals 0 and k equals 20 are special cases that need to be handled this way. Let's run our code. And that looks good. Let's submit. And we are accepted.